Hey YouTube, welcome back. Today we're going to be doing a best of one constructed event with our mono red aggro deck. We're going to be playing basically the standard version of the deck. There's another version that uses Flame of Keld as a sort of draw and card engine, but this is the version that runs a couple copies of Experimental Frenzy. I think this version is still a little bit better than the Flame of Keld version. This card basically caps you out at a bonus of 2 cards and then can be sort of a finishing play. But if you can get running with an Experimental Frenzy, have a Runaway Steamkin to sort of fuel some extra mana to really just throw out a ton of spells, I think that's just a little bit stronger of a game plan. We're playing 2 Risk Factor. The rest of this is sort of the core of the deck. We've got some fast early creatures to get in some incremental damage. 4 Shock, 4 Lightning Strike, 4 Wizard's Lightning is our main burn spells. Risk Factor is also a burn spell, but these kill creatures, and killing creatures is very important so that your little dudes can get through. Runaway Steamkin can get out of control quickly by sort of ramping you in out of that Experimental Frenzy, like I mentioned earlier. Pyromancer is shock on a stick, basically. Chain Whirler clears small blockers, does a little bit of damage, and basically trades really well with a lot of stuff in the field. We're running 22 mountains, and let's go ahead and get started. All right. This hand's fine. I really like Runaway Steamkin. 2 Chain Whirlers is good. Hold up a shock turn 1 to kill their Llanowar Elf. Wait to see if they present us with a better target for the shock before using it. I don't think there's any other 1 mana spell that I would want to use the shock on, so might as well save the point of damage. Play pre-combat to get a counter. Probably going to minus on our goblin. Then we play a Chain Whirler, kill the... oh, okay, he killed the chain, or the Steamkin. We will attack his face. Play a Chain Whirler and hold up shock. Basically, 4 mana, sorcery speed, destroy a creature. Not great value. Yep. I think we'll basically burn our opponent out here. Actually, this is just lethal on board. Nice quick win. Our opponent didn't have enough early creatures to really interact with our storm of chain whirlers. Pyro. Ow! Hand is fine. 5 out of 10. Essence scatter. Nope. Opt. Nope. Hold up the lightning. Just go face with the lightning because we want to play our Phoenix. I'll just let you deal damage to me. Let's see, with Chain Whirler plus Shock, even if he blocks the Pyromancer, I can kill it. Blocking Phoenix is very bad because it just respawns. Let's see here. Do I even want to just risk factor shock? Nah, this is safer. Give him more to have to deal with. It would only get harder to remove the dragon. Never know when our opponent can pick up a counter spell to help defend. See if we can draw 2 damage. We cannot. This sets us up to just untap, ping the face. All right, off to a quick 2-0 start here. I mean, you see this deck a lot in this format because it is very sort of It's fairly straightforward to play. It gets a little bit complicated against control decks, sort of trying to figure out how to resolve a experimental frenzy. But it is pretty popular because it's just straightforward. Games are generally fairly fast and quick. It's a very good, just kind of like laddering, grinding deck. Not too fatiguing. This hand is great. I love Firebrand into Steamkin into Chain Whirler. With some incidental removal to help clear the way for those attackers. Some scenarios where we might want to kill something rather than playing our Steamkin would be Wild Growth Walker is basically the worst thing that this deck can see. Does not appear as if that will be a concern in this match. A 1/3 that gets big quickly and gains life is not something that we like to see. I don't think he would want to trade there, right? Because he wants to get value out of this in a few turns. If he does, that's a fine trade. For me, I can always kill it later. Just playing the white weenie deck. If I draw a mountain here, that's very unfortunate. But I don't. Oh. Looking for either another 1-cost spell or a mountain. Both will let me play the Chain Whirler, because if I can play 2 spells, I get to 3 counters. Can remove the counters for a Chain Whirler. I also might want to just strike this Pride Mate. That's probably what I'm going to do here. What does this do? I think we can safely attack. This probably blocks here. Nope. Our turn opponent may have force passed. Man, we really want to kill that. All right, well, this is very good. We actually have access to enough mana here to kill the Pride Mate. I think we're going to take advantage. We have the option to use this mana for a shock later. Did I just forget to attack? I think I did, but the emotional attack proved too much for our opponent to handle, so it didn't matter. I think they were just totally out of cards. Hand is medium. As we get higher up in the league and we start playing against more undefeated opponents, we'll likely start to face both stronger players and stronger decks. Frenzy can be an answer to some of the grindier matchups, so I don't mind seeing that. Our opponent probably is going to opt. Nope. Mono blue, maybe. The second experimental frenzy is terrible. I just skipped my draw phase. Unless I allow one of them to get countered for some reason. We might just be playing a upgraded Merfolk deck here. Looks like that's what it is. Spells your opponent cast. That mean I can kill it like this? Yep. Oh. Oh, abilities. I literally just didn't read the second half of the card. Our opponent taunts us for our foolish mistake. Think of it as I sacrificed it to deal 2 damage to his face. If I draw one more land, I can... never mind. I don't think that I want to quadruple block here, although I guess denying the draw might be valuable. He already has a lot of cards. And I think that this is a race where I have the advantage. Definitely not card advantage. I like playing Experimental Frenzy the turn where I have 5 lands out. It makes the first card on top either a mountain or a 1-drop becomes playable rather than just a mountain on 4. I'll probably just jam this face during my opponent's end step, but then I never know what the sort of statistics are on if it's better to play Experimental Frenzy without playing a mountain or play a mountain and then Experimental Frenzy. Out of all the cards in our deck, mountain's the single most likely draw. So we have the greatest chance of drawing a mountain as a specific card, but out of total cards, non-mountains are greater than mountains. I think we play Mountain Frenzy. Let's just go for it. Let's see if we can draw one more burn spell. All right. Let's attack. Yep. See which one he's going to target. I think either way, we ping his face. And we got there with a bit of luck. Some pretty obvious misplays on my part in that game. If we had still had that extra firebrand, I wouldn't have needed to draw the extra burn spell because I would have had that last point of damage on the board. So that was a reasonably significant misplay on my part. All right, pretty good opener. Playing the mirror. Lava Runner is the perfect counter to Firebrand. It's really going to be about sticking creatures and killing your opponent's creatures in this matchup. I'm going to play Pyromancer because next turn I'm playing Chain Whirler. I want to save these cards for for opposing Chain Whirlers. Shock probably wants to hit opposing Pyromancers and Lava Runners. Or face. Okay, our opponent opts to trade. Our opponent running low on cards. Hopefully one of those is a land. Mm-hmm. Pray I draw another Chain Whirler. No. I think I shock one of them. Saving this for the Chain Whirler. Here we're going to play a Phoenix. If our opponent risk factors us, I think we let him draw, because if we let that hit, if either of these is a bolt, that's game. Yeah, take the cards. You don't have the mana to utilize it. If I draw a wizard, I have lethal. Assuming no blocks. Opponent's only played one instant. I think we need to leave this up as a blocker. We can play Lightning Strike, or Wizard's Lightning end of turn, depending on what our opponent does. We got pretty lucky. He drew 2 lands off of the risk factor. All right, our opponent passes. Use our more expensive spell. And onboard lethal. As well as in hand. Multiple paths there. He was going to kill the Phoenix, so might as well just shock before it resolves. We get a shiny piece of junk. I really want to get a game against a hard control deck. Against a Teferi deck. To showcase how to play against that. His hand is medium. Mono blue. Next turn, we're going to shock this. Curious Obsession. Nope. Our opponent missed the nut draw. Let's see. So we can Steamkin. We could strike the Aerialist. Or we could double shock. Double shocking doesn't have a lot of value because this is a 2/2, still does nothing against the 2/3. We could strike, then shock next turn. So I think that we want to just play Steamkin and pass. That seems like the biggest blowout for us. All right, our opponent couldn't find the third land and doesn't have Curious Obsession, so they don't have a lot of draw engine available to them. I'm not even sure. We might even just want to play Firebrand rather than Shock the Storm Chaser. Looks like our opponent is looking for a Spell Pierce. Okay. That's fine. Again, we can always double shock it. Our opponent found their land and a Curious Obsession. I'm just playing all of this pre-combat because we already know they do not have a Spell Pierce, so this was just being held up for the Siren. Doesn't really matter that much. It was technically better to kill that post-combat, but we wanted to use at least one of the shocks pre-combat for the Steamkin, and it was just easier to kill both at the same time. I'm just going to play everything out here. I mean, now we really want a Experimental Frenzy because we've got a full Steamkin. Opponent had an Essence Scatter. Our opponent is also running very low on resources here. Drawing all of their Mist-Cloaked Heralds, which are not very good without a Curious Obsession. Our opponent's going to go for the double block. They've just drawn all of their opts, all of their Mist-Cloaked Heralds. They drew like 3 unique cards this entire game. Tempest Djinn is very good. That's going to buy them some time. Especially as I begin to flood out here. Jeez. They draw another one. Looking for any burn spell. There it is. Just plays around Spell Pierce because I have the 2 mana. And good game. Turned into a little bit of a top deck war there at the end. Sand's pretty top heavy, but not bad. Pretty good, actually. These are all great cards. Play a Pyromancer into a potential shock. We want to save this until we can get value out of it. No sense just running it into our opponent's likely removal. Yep. It's often good to try and save it for a point in time where you can play it plus another creature, so it's at least a little bit larger. Playing the mirror. Looks like our draw is a little bit stronger. However, our opponent has found answers so far. And our opponent's hand is pretty good as well. This can infinitely block the Chain Whirler until I draw a removal spell. Although our opponent has removed that possibility. Plan B, make a bunch of giant steam 4/4 Steamkins. Yeah. Our opponent had much more removal than us. And Frenzy, wow. This is only a 1/1, a 1/2 right now. Just play this main phase for the token. He'll definitely take it. At this point, we are basically hoping our opponent gets 30 mountains in a row. I'm going to start chump blocking. And that's game. Yeah. That's sometimes how it goes. Our opponent drew a little bit better. Hopefully that'll be our only loss. We will see. All right, hand looks good. Now the hand looks even better. Possibly the mirror again. Although no shock off the top. Looks like it's Boros Angels. Wow. Well, I really would like my Chain Whirler to go off and my Pyromancer to go off, so I'm just going to get rid of that. Beautiful. That was also just a good blocker for our Firebrand, so striking that down essentially got us another point of damage there. Here we're going to be very rude to our opponent. Aurelia is just very strong against our deck. Sure. I haven't really thought about if this is a good trade. He gets it back first, so he gets haste. But he doesn't want to attack because then he loses the blocker. So I think it's just... That's one reason not to trade. It gives him an easy way to dispose of it. Okay, so that's a misplay. Great. Yeah, I think Experimental Frenzy is basically our only out here. All right. Can I make it happen? Nope. All right, last game. We will finally determine if jinxes work or do not work. From what I said, I hope I don't lose again. I'll try it out. Against a turn 1 tap land. I mean, they might shock it, but that takes away their turn 2 play. Now I feel very good about Chain Whirling. And that wasn't guaranteed, but because I needed the mountain for it. Got a little bit lucky. All right. Play on curve here and play our most expensive card. Playing on curve is good because if we draw a mountain, it lets us play both Chain Whirler and Lightning Strike. In addition, 4 attack is more than 3, and this is more difficult to kill. Looks like our opponent is sitting on a counter. Did he kick that? No. So here's interesting. Do I want to... I think we just run that back out. This lets us attack for 7, which puts our opponent down to 6, which puts him in range of double lightning strike. Although playing this and attacking with both puts him down to 12 and then down to 6, so I guess it's the same, but if our opponent blocks here, we kill it with Chain Whirler. I didn't see that particular line, but that's another reason playing the Phoenix was better. And we got there. 7 wins. All right. Let's see what we got. Junk. Best card in Momir, but also junk. And that's fine. It's also let's buy a pack. With our hard-earned winnings. Cool. All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Thanks for watching. Be sure to leave the video a like. Leave a comment down below with any questions you might have. Point out any mistakes I might have made. Any requests for future decks to try out. And subscribe. Thanks so much for watching. Have a good day, evening, morning, afternoon, and so long.